Here we go. Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr. A happy Monday evening to everybody. Hope all of your weeks are off to a fantastic start. It is August 25th, and tomorrow, all 32 teams across the NFL must trim their rosters from 90 players down to 53. And so coming up on today's show, Niners today taking steps to get there, cutting multiple players. So we're going to talk about those roster moves, but there is so much to talk about here on this show. So sit back, relax. Let's talk some Niners football, and don't forget to show love to the channel by hitting that subscribe button. It keeps the content free. It keeps the channel going. You get informed, and I'm out here in Costa Rica bringing you the goods right here on the show. Had myself a day today. Rappelled down a waterfall, did some zip lining, horseback riding, went hiking. I'm looking at the ocean right now, but I want to talk some Niners. So let's do it right now. All right. So let's begin here. I think the 49ers are still looking for ways to improve their roster externally. And that could be monitoring the waiver wire to see which other players get cut by other teams in the lead up to tomorrow and tomorrow. That could be way of trades. That could be way of free agency, or by way of free agency, I should say. And there was this report from Diana Rossini here today that after Amari Cooper signed with the Las Vegas Raiders, she reported that Cooper had interest from multiple teams, including the San Francisco 49ers, but he elected to sign with Las Vegas. I see where Amari Cooper is going. He started his career with the Raiders, was a legendary player there. He's a borderline Hall of Famer with everything he's been able to accomplish in his NFL career. That new regime is an exciting one to be a part of, with general manager John Spytek, head coach Pete Carroll, Tom Brady in that ownership group alongside Mark Davis. Most importantly for Amari Cooper, he wants to play. And he wants to be guaranteed playing time and targets. The Niners can't do that, or at least they're not willing to do that with Amari Cooper. A big reason why they never signed an Amari Cooper or haven't signed a Gabe Davis, despite having a litany of injuries at the wide receiver spot, is because San Francisco likes their receiver core when everybody is healthy and able to play. Top to bottom, it's a pretty good one. And so if you sign an external veteran, they might be able to help you in the meantime, like a Robbie Chosen or a Russell Gage or an Isaiah Hodgins, right? But once all those players come back, and hopefully they can for San Francisco, you never know, with all the injury issues that this team suffers from, and it's started already here in preseason. But once those players come back, that veteran who the Niners sign in this hypothetical scenario wouldn't end up playing or being a part of the wide receiver rotation. But with the Las Vegas Raiders, they're in a spot right now where they have Jacoby Myers as their one, and outside of that, at wide receiver, a bunch of unknowns. They like the Thornton kid from Tennessee. They have Brock Bowers, of course, at tight end, who is behind George Kittle as the second best tight end in the NFL. But Amari Cooper can go there, play right away, play for the organization that drafted him out of Alabama. He really wants to flush what was a very poor season for him in 2024, and he wouldn't get that chance with San Francisco. So I've seen so many people asking me in the comment section here on the show saying, Chase, why are the 49ers not signing Amari Cooper? That strategy that I just broke down is from the team side, but also the player side. But clearly, if the Niners were showing some interest in Amari Cooper, they're still looking to upgrade the roster. John Lynch was on the phone at practice for a long time today at the SAP Performance Facility. And after San Francisco last week traded for Sky Moore and traded for Brian Robinson in the span of 3 days, that's 2 trades. I don't think that San Francisco is done, or at least they're not done trying to improve this roster with a couple of avenues here. Free agency, trade, monitoring the waiver wire. So let's keep that in mind as we look ahead to tomorrow. As for the roster moves that the Niners made here today, following players have been waived. Quarterback Carter Bradley, quarterback Tanner Mordecai. Let's begin there. I thought in the final preseason game, Tanner Mordecai was considerably better than Carter Bradley. Arm strength, very similar. Mobility, huge edge to Tanner Mordecai. Throwing with touch, edge to Mordecai. Being decisive and not locking in on a receiver, edge to Mordecai. Now, I don't know why the Niners were playing yo-yo with him all throughout the preseason and in training camp by having him on the team, cutting him, bringing him back, cutting him, bringing him back. It could be that Carter Bradley, Nepo baby time, is the son of Gus Bradley, who's on this Niners coaching staff. But when you watch that game on Saturday night, Tanner Mordecai clearly better than Carter Bradley. Now, we'll see what the injuries are for both of these quarterbacks, because right now San Francisco does not have a third-string quarterback. It's Brock Purdy and Mac Jones, who's going to come off that knee sprain soon. I think both of those players can be brought back to the practice squad. Another team is not going to sign Carter Bradley or Tanner Mordecai to their active roster. Niners probably know that, and so by bringing them onto the practice squad, they'll have 2 quarterbacks on the initial 53. I talked about this possibility on my final roster projection. That then opens up another roster spot elsewhere on the roster. Then San Francisco will have that third-string quarterback on the practice squad and their emergency game day quarterback. These other players also waived. Defensive lineman Jaylon Allen and defensive lineman Shakel Brown. San Francisco today also releasing running back Ke'Shawn Vaughn. He was never going to make this team. I don't think Jeff Wilson makes this team. But with all of the injuries at running back, we'll see if Wilson has a chance. As a vested veteran, he's been in the league since 2018. You could bring him back to the practice squad. He knows this offense very well. Was with this team from 2018 through 2022. Had a good career as a UDFA out in North Texas. Went to Miami, played well. Niners traded him there after they acquired Christian McCaffrey. And just having him as an insurance policy on the practice squad wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, ideally, you want to be able to develop a young player on the taxi squad. You're going to do that with Corey Kiner, who reverted to IR, but he's going to be out for at least a couple of months. And so I think the running backs who make this team, Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson, who we'll talk about, practiced with the Niners for the first time today, Isaac Rendo, Jordan James, that's 4 running backs right there. Then you have Kyle Juszczyk as a fullback. That's my best guess with what we'll see on the initial 53. Isaiah Prince also let go. He was competing to be a backup tackle for this team. Speaking of that, San Francisco released offensive tackle Andre Dillard from IR with an injury settlement. So it looks like the backup tackles for this club, barring anything that they do tomorrow, if a good player comes their way, who gets let go by another team, backup tackles are going to be Spencer Burford and Austin Pleasance, I would imagine. And I also hope that by letting some of these players go, San Francisco has to find a way to keep offensive guard Drew Moss, who was stellar all throughout the preseason. And I really think that the Niners might have a gem there. And I think that he would get claimed by another team and put on their active roster because he had impressive rep after impressive rep put on tape all throughout the preseason. He's a dude at that offensive guard spot. And then the other one, another rookie UDFA who I want to see the Niners keep on this initial 53 is Sebastian Valdez. But along the offensive line and along the defensive line, it's always a numbers game. And we'll see if those players can make the initial 53 and if they do get cut, if they can come back to the practice squad and not get claimed by San Francisco. Also of note here, Niners are 11th on the claim list. Pretty good spot to be. Same order as the NFL draft because they were 6-11 last year. All right, a lot more to get to here on the show. Injury news, Brian Robinson's first day at practice, that and a whole lot more. But Prize Picks making our 49ers report possible here from Costa Rica. #1 daily fantasy sports app in the game. Right now, you get $50 after you play your first $5 lineup, and you can win up to 2,000 times your money. You can submit your picks in less than a minute, and you can take your sports opinions to Prize Picks and show me that you know ball. So head to prizepicks.com/CLNS. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can win some big-time money. Claim your $50 right now. prizepicks.com/CLNS. Injury news here. Rookies Mykel Williams and CJ West returning to the practice field today after missing time with hyperextended knees. For Mykel Williams, he hyperextended his knee against the Broncos in that joint practice. And then CJ West after the first-round pick, Mykel Williams, hurt his knee with a hyperextension in that Broncos joint practice. CJ West hyperextended his knee in that Raiders joint practice. Good to see both of those players back. They're going to play huge roles for this Niners defense here in 2025. And when the Niners defense did take the field today, it was Mykel Williams at defensive end opposite of Nick Bosa, and then Alfred Collins also lined up with the starters. We'll see how much he and CJ West play. They're going to need to play, though, and we'll see if they can both start at both of those defensive tackle positions. But CJ West a little bit behind the 8 ball right now because he missed time here during training camp. Alfred Collins to start camp and the preseason was behind the 8 ball because he did nothing in the spring due to that calf injury. Good news here on right guard. Dominic Pooney appears to be much further along in trying to be physically ready for the Niners Week 1 game against the Seattle Seahawks. He's coming off that PCL sprain in his knee when, in the most Niner injury fashion possible, he got rolled up on that Jake Moody field goal early in the game. Just brutal. But he went through physical therapy and conditioning while his teammates had an hour-long practice. He was running, looking better 9 days after suffering that knee injury and that preseason tilt against the Raiders. Hopefully he is trending toward getting back in the lineup for the start of the regular season. In the meantime, rookie Connor Colby remained at right guard with the Niners' first-team offense, while Pooney worked with the team's strength and conditioning staff. Presumptive starting left guard Ben Barch did return to practice after missing 2 preseason games with a right elbow injury. He wore a brace on that right arm. I'd go Connor Colby at left guard. I think he's the better player, and Ben Barch is always hurt. Something interesting brewing here with wide receiver Jawan Jennings. He's now been out for 29 days since leaving training camp practice all the way back on July 27th with the calf injury. He wants a new deal. There's no report of progress from either side, and Tim Kawakami reported that if he doesn't get on the practice field soon, the Niners could place him on injured reserve to start the year as a little bit of a flex to say, hey, if this is a contract holdout, we're not budging, we're not buying it. And after with what happened with Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel and Nick Bosa in recent years, we're not putting up with this shit any longer. Upton Stout, Kalia Davis, Demarcus Robinson, Russell Gage did not practice today. There were no injury updates as Kyle Shanahan did not speak to the media here on Monday. Hopefully Upton Stout can get back soon because he is the best option to start in the slot alongside Deommodore Lenoir and Renardo Green on the outside. If he can't start there, the Niners cut Trey Brown. Is it going to be Chase Lucas, who was great the first 2 preseason games, and then in the third one he was solid and played exclusively on the outside? An interesting development there. Running back Brian Robinson, he made his debut with the Niners at practice today, went through individual drills, received one of the first handoffs of the short practice. Niners acquiring him from the Commanders for a 6th-round pick. He said, I want me and Christian McCaffrey to be the best running back duo in the NFL. Word out of Niners HQ, they are ecstatic about B-Rob, and they think that he can help to transform Kyle Shanahan's offense. And with Christian McCaffrey missing 10 or more games in 3 of the last 5 years, and Isaac Rendo is made of paper mache, you needed to bring in a durable player like Robinson who has some physicality to his game, runs with a punch, and he's really good insurance. Behind McCaffrey and a really good RB2 next to Christian McCaffrey. Robinson said today, I'm ready for it. I've been running the ball my whole life, so I'm ready to just plug and play. That's a football guy right there. All right, so that is all of the news on the Niners front. Pretty sure I covered everything there in about 15 minutes. Tomorrow, I'll have another video here from Costa Rica talking about this Niners initial 53-man roster. Until then, I'll see you soon. Don't forget to lock us in and subscribe.